Mikan and Mick and Pollard too, and Kunla running a team. The team's terrific, to be specific, is basketball supreme. There's something about that Lakers score that makes the fans want more.
Station WCCO, radio headquarters of the famous Minneapolis Star and Tribune columnist, and the voice of WCCO in the upper Midwest. Yes, in this corner, Cedric Adams, who is known from coast to coast as Mr. Minneapolis.
Thanks, Marty. Yes, Minneapolis is my hometown. Minneapolis is the heart of the upper Midwest. North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, upper Iowa, and western Wisconsin. Financially, industrially, or culturally, it's the leader and mainspring of America's vast upper Midwest. Ask a rancher in Montana, a merchant in the Dakotas. More than 1 million people live within 50 miles of Minneapolis and its sister city of St. Paul. The huge mining and lumbering industries of Minnesota have helped make Minnesota what it is today. But the city is most famous for its milling industry. Her preeminence in this field, which makes Minneapolis the milling capital of the world, is still to be seen in the giant grain elevators and mills right in the heart of the city. Minnesota, of course, is renowned as the land of 10,000 lakes. 16 of these beautiful cooling lakes in the land of the sky blue water lie right in Minneapolis. And it's from those lakes that one of the greatest sports organizations in the world takes its name. Yes, Minneapolis is the home of the Minneapolis Lakers of professional basketball. The Lakers are the only major league pro team in the upper Midwest. It was only 4 years ago that Ben Berger, Max Winter, and a group of local businessmen bought the Detroit franchise of the National Basketball League and brought big-time basketball to Minneapolis. In their relatively short existence, the Lakers have brought publicity to Minneapolis unparalleled by any other sports organization in the history of our city. America's press, magazines such as Look, Time, Life, Sports World, Sport, and the Saturday Evening Post, all national in scope and with circulations up in the hundreds of thousands, have spread the fame of the city of Minneapolis and the Minneapolis Lakers. From coast to coast, the Associated Press, the United Press, the International News Service, and other news-gathering services have flashed the feats of the world's greatest basketball team all over the nation. For the Minneapolis Lakers have become a wonder team in a class by itself. The Lakers have earned the stature that the Yankees rate in pro baseball. Newspapers like the New York Daily News, with a circulation of more than 2 million, the New York Mirror, the famed New York Times, the great Chicago Herald-American, the Chicago Tribune, the Philadelphia Bulletin, the Boston Record, and many others are carrying the name of Minneapolis and the Minneapolis Lakers to the big cities for the first time in the form of big headlines across their sports pages. Yes, as the Lakers stormed to 3 successive world championships, sports history was being written. Instead of becoming the favorite of Minneapolis only, the whole upper Midwest adopted them. From all over the Midwest, they poured in to see the Lakers perform. Some started calling them the greatest team ever assembled, the Paul Bunyans of basketball. Upper Midwesterners were pleased as punch, for the Lakers represented the very region which gave birth to the great Paul B. Yes, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and other big league cities are now a part of Minneapolis. Old Paul B. had made his mark in the great woods of Minnesota and Wisconsin. The Lakers were making their mark in the biggest sports arenas all over the nation. Today, no one is more proud of the Lakers than the people in Minneapolis and the upper Midwest. Every day, thousands of Laker fans wait for the news of favorites as reported by the newspapers and radio and television stations of the upper Midwest. Glenn Gaff left and Bill Carlson cover the Lakers for the great Minneapolis Star and Tribune, the voice of the upper Midwest. More than 500,000 people daily and more than 600,000 on Sunday read the great Star and Tribune published by John Coles, whose success with the Star and Tribune is one of the great success stories of all time. Last year, Greyhound bus on special chartered service brought more than 43,000 people to Minneapolis for Laker games. Greyhound agents like Melvin Gabrielson, in Malacca arrange for Laker charter trips and sell tickets for all the Lakers games. They are your ticket office. The Greyhound agent in your town is the man to see about seeing the world champion Lakers. The Lakers fly Northwest Airlines on most of their trips. Big men like George Mikan, Vern Mickelson, Jim Pollard, and Howie Schultz rest better on a plane. Rest is a very important factor in winning basketball games, and flying Northwest helps the Lakers relax and rest. Many business firms like Minneapolis Moline arrange special nights at the Laker games for groups of their employees. There's Al Therian at the left, advertising and promotion manager for the Lakers, talking with Bon Gressing and Werner Swanson, discussing arrangements for fans at Minneapolis Moline. Last year, more than 40,000 people from over 100 different firms saw the games, which they attended in units like these at special prices. Get your firm to have a Laker night, or if your club needs money, call the Lakers. They have a plan by which your club can make money. Keenly appreciative of the publicity the Lakers bring to the city every year is the Minneapolis Chamber of Commerce. Here, Dave McMillan, former Minnesota basketball coach, confers with Chamber President Henry Rutledge and ex-President Ed Grimes of the Chamber. They're very pleased to hear that 1 million fans see the Lakers play every season, and that many more millions of people hear about, read about the Minneapolis team. President of the Lakers is Ben Berger. Long associated with sports promotion in the upper Midwest, Ben looks at a picture of the first Laker team of 4 years ago. But let's turn the pages of the Lakers' bright record. It's time for basketball, and here to tell you the story of the Lakers is Marty Glickman.
The 1948 championship game. The Minneapolis Lakers had been in existence only this one season, yet here they were, shooting for the title against the Rochester Royals. A sellout crowd at the Edgerton Park Sports Arena in Rochester was pulling for the home team. But before the series was over, they were taking off their hats to the terrific invaders from the Middle West. The Lakers, wearing the white uniforms, were sparked by their 1-2 punch, George Mikan and Jim Pollard. And there's George putting it in. Rochester now, Reisen's hook shot is missed, but Wanza scores the tap-in. Here are the Lakers, and again the Pollard-Mikan punch. Pollard's got the ball, and notice how cleverly Jim sucks away Mikan's man to feed the big guy for a layup. Rochester's ball. Arnie Johnson's under the hoop, and he scores for the Royals. George Mikan racked up 27 points for the Lakers in this game. Watch him there in the pivot, making 2 of his points right now. Laker coach Johnny Kundler was latest referred to this game as one of the greatest his team had ever played. The Lakers were brilliant every minute of play. Rochester's ball, but thievery coming up. Mikan intercepts, and look at him dribble. Over to Schaefer, and it's 2 more for the Lakers. Once more, let's watch for a moment the tightness of the Minneapolis defense. They were guarding the Royals as if they were diamonds. Wanza finally cracks through with an outside set shot. But by now the issue was no longer in doubt. Along with Mikan's high scoring, Jim Pollard made 19 points and Jack Dwan added 10 more. The Lakers coasted to victory 75-65. There's George Mikan doing a great job of the rebound. That was the story. By a margin of 3 games to 1, they took home to Minneapolis their first professional basketball crown. '49, again the Lakers were tops. Again they were fighting for basketball's professional championship. Only this time, instead of fighting Rochester, they were battling the capitals of Washington, D.C. Minneapolis, wearing the dark jerseys in this game, had long become the nation's top basketball drawing card. By the time this series was over, George Mikan had set a fantastic new scoring record. For this 1 year, he rang up 2,001 points. That was more points than he had scored during his entire 4-year college career at DePaul. But along with George, another Laker ace was wowing the crowds, and that, of course, was jumping Jim Pollard. Watch Jim steal the ball and electrify the fans as he solos in for the layup. There he goes. Fighting to stay with the Lakers, the Washington Caps put on a little razzle-dazzle of their own. Fingertip passing before Katkovic scores. But look at Minneapolis. Pollard sends a long pass to Mikan. Then over to Herm Schaefer for a pretty bank shot. The Lakers were playing with terrific team spirit, which is a hard thing to beat. Pollard steals again, and teammate Schaefer is all by his lonesome. The Lakers quickly roared to a 10-point lead, and Washington was never able to catch them. Here's the Butte. Now watch. Pollard to Mikan, to Ferrin, and the basket. The Lakers never let up their terrific pace. Not even Mikan, who played part of the series with a fractured right wrist. The Caps ball now. That's Scolari driving in for a basket. But the Lakers had too much power. 4 games to 2, they downed the Capitals. With brilliant basketball like this, they swept to triumph and their second successive world championship. (1950). Minneapolis was once more a finalist in basketball's World Series. This year, the locale was Syracuse. The scrappy Nationals, one of the fightingest teams in professional basketball, were challenging the Lakers in the final for the World Crown. The Lakers, wearing the white, had added to their club this year some outstanding new talent, including Slater Martin, Bob Harrison, and Vern Mickelson. That's Alex Hannum of Syracuse fighting for a basket under the hoop. Now the Lakers. Mickelson misses, but Jim Pollard makes it count. But hold the phone. A Syracuse fast break with Hannum steaming in to score. The crowds went crazy over this series. It was close. It was hard fought. Though both teams were under heavy pressure, it was rare that the play wasn't brilliant. The Lakers took the first game. The Nats took the second. It was a seesaw Donnybrook between two squads that never let down. There's Mickelson faking. Pollard saves the day and scores for Minneapolis. Led by player coach Al Servey, the Nats never stopped trying. That's Servey with the ball now. Swish. But once more, the Lakers proved their competitive greatness, and they forged ahead to stay there. That's rookie Slater Martin with perfect aim. Speaking of Martin, folks, watch the play coming up. First, a Syracuse shot is missed, and Ferrin recovers. Now watch Slater on a give and go. Beautiful. Syracuse now. The Nats were in there punching all the time, but the ranks of professional basketball, in which the game is played at its best, has never seen a team as good as this Minneapolis powerhouse. They outfought and outshot the Nats to keep their crown. 4 games to 2, they bowled over Syracuse and became, for the 3rd year in a row, the kings of professional basketball. (1951). The world champion Lakers were again defending titleists of the NBA's Western Division, and they met the Rochester Royals in the semifinal playoffs. The Royals, wearing the white uniforms, with a big hurdle the Lakers had to clear. Leading the Lakers 2 games to 1, and playing this game in their home arena, Rochester was keyed up for battle, as perhaps no other team had been before. For in their grasp was a chance to pull the upset of the season and eliminate the Lakers from the final playoffs. One big thing was riding in their favor. The mainstay of the Laker team, George Mikan, was playing with a bad ankle. There are the Lakers with the ball, handling it carefully, passing it around while they look for an opening. Bob Harrison finally sees an opening and slashes in to score. Once more, Pollard proved a terrific thief. Watch the robbery coming up. Jim stealing it away. Back come the Royals. Coleman on a set shot. In there. In the final period, the Lakers were up against the wall. They were trailing the Royals, and the clock was running out on them. Pollard lead passes Mikan, and it's good. But the Royals kept the heat on. That's Bob Davies. His shot is up and rims the basket. Mickelson rebounds and tags Jim Pollard beautifully. 2 for the Lakers. But in spite of the Lakers' last-ditch fight, the Royals weren't to be denied their triumph. They finally did what every team in the league had been waiting to do for 4 years. They beat the champions 80-75 and forced them out of the playoffs for the title. The Royals went on from there to beat the New York Knicks for the NBA championship. And thus it was that the Royals took the crown that the Lakers had worn for 3 straight years. But what of the future? Back in Minneapolis, the Lakers vice president and general manager Max Winter was not a man to rest upon past laurels. He was planning strategy for another season. And the plans were for the Lakers to regain their dominance and wind up champions once more. The office gang, Roy Christensen, Kay Lundquist, Alice Peterson, Al Therian, and Dave McMillan, make up the staunchest Laker fans on earth. Their dreams of another Laker title are not wishful thinking. Minneapolis has the talent and the spirit with which to win it. Let's go further behind the scenes and drop in for a call on some of this talent. First stop, the home of Mr. Basketball himself, George Mikan. George and Pat Mikan have taken permanent residence in Minneapolis. With sons Terry and Larry, the Mikans live in a beautiful new home in the suburb of Edina. George, Pat, and the children agree with Cedric Adams 100%. There's no town on earth like Minneapolis. When he was in college, George majored in law, not basketball, as a lot of people seem to think. And whenever George's heavy schedule will permit, he gets out those torts and law books. Anyone need a lawyer? Or a golf partner? George, incidentally, is very good at the game. Despite his great size, 6 feet 10 inches, he's a natural athlete and excels in just about any sport you'd care to name. In baseball, for example, many major league teams wanted to sign him up as a pitcher. Mikan now owns a Standard Oil station in Minneapolis and hopes someday to own a chain of stations. But basketball is his #1 sport. And here we have a chance to study him at a specialty, the layup shot, the most fundamental shot in the game of basketball, as it's done by the game's greatest single player. George is proficient at any kind of shooting, but he is master of the pivot. There are, after all, many big men in basketball, but there is only one George Mikan. It's not only his size, but his extraordinary skill as well that makes him the biggest star in the game. The Associated Press, in its nationwide poll a year ago, named George America's greatest basketball player of this first half century. Introducing more of the Laker family, Mr. and Mrs. Jim Pollard and their children. Arlie, the voice at every Laker game, poses with the baby of the house, Jean. Cute little lady, isn't she? There's Dad with son, Jack Clifford. When Jackie grows up, maybe he'll be as famous as his father, who is one of America's greatest cage stars. Jim is a native of Oakland, California, but he and Arlie and the 2 children, like the Mikans, have settled down as residents of Minneapolis. Off-season, Jim works at the business of selling automobiles for Mr. Oscar Borton, where a smile, personality, and sincerity like his are big assets. He plans a career in coaching or in business after his pro basketball days. Selected on the all-professional team 3 years, Jim was used in a special instructional film sponsored by the KES department of U.S. Rubber to demonstrate the one-hand set shot. Notice his perfect balance and his easy follow-through motion. Jim is known as the Kangaroo Kid because of his tremendous leap and spring. An All-American at Stanford University, where he succeeded the great Hank Lewisetti as a cage immortal, Jim has been with the Lakers since they began, and he's one of the big reasons why they've been on top. Recognize this big fellow? That's right, he's Vern Mickelson with his dad, who, by the way, is a Methodist minister. Vern is still a bachelor and lives in Minneapolis with his parents. Like him, the Reverend and Mrs. Mickelson are fond of singing and love to gather around the piano of an evening. At Hamlin, Vern sang in the choir, in addition to playing sensational basketball. He spends his summers working towards a master's degree in physical education. Vern was a natural for the Lakers. Though nationally famous as a college star at Hamlin, where he played under Joe Hutton, he was and is a tremendous local favorite, too. Vern's a dangerous scorer from the corner or the pivot. With Mikan and Pollard, he makes up the big 3 of the Laker offense. There he is in the pivot against New York. A good fake. And he scores. Now you see him use that deadly overhead shot, a big man's shot that Vern does to perfection. Here are Bob and Ruth Harrison, the proud parents of Bobby. Big Bob is of French Indian ancestry, hence his black hair and dark eyes. Off-season, when he's not playing guard for the Lakers, Bob works at Superior Golf Course. Here he is with the club pro, George Lehan. A University of Michigan ace, Harrison is passionately fond of any and every sport. His high scoring in college basketball under Ozzie Cowles led Michigan to its Big Ten title in 1948. As a cage star, Bob is a terrific hustler. You'll see him in this slow-motion shot cutting towards the basket on a beautiful play. His teammates call him Stonewall because of his marvelous defensive ability. Bob is also a dead-eye Dick at set shooting. There he is in the corner. So wish. Now meet Slater Martin at home in Houston, Texas. His is the distinction of being the smallest man on the Lakers squad. He's 5 feet 10, but he's also one of the fastest men in the game. You see him here demonstrating the finer points of dribbling, just one of the things that Martin does superlatively well. Notice how he keeps the ball low with fingertip control. A speed merchant who started at the University of Texas, Slater is rated as the best small defensive player in the NBA. Like Bob Harrison, he's got speed to burn. Watch him now in slow motion. There he goes. Laker fans like his fire and drive and first-rate shooting from the outside. Okay, Slater, give us an example. Right on the button. Now a sensational newcomer, Lou Hitch at right, poses with Ronnie Peterson, a Robbinsdale schoolboy star. Ronnie hopes to emulate the record of Lou, who has just completed a great college career at Kansas State. A 6'8" youngster, Hitch is the Lakers' #2 draft choice. Perhaps some of you fans remember the job he did in leading Kansas State to the NCAA Western Championship. His team lost the national crown to Kentucky in a game played at Williams Arena in Minneapolis. But no one who saw that game has forgotten the marvelous defending job he did against Kentucky's 7-foot center, Bill Spivey. A continually improving player, Hitch promises to make the Laker followers happy as jaybirds. Watch him block Spivey's shot. He's got the rebound, too. But now meet a veteran, Howie Schultz, the third Hamlin star to play for the Lakers. With his wife and 2 children, Howie lives in St. Paul. As an athlete, he's renowned in baseball, too. For 4 years, Howie was regular first baseman for the Brooklyn Dodgers and also played that position for the Philadelphia Phillies. But he's a major leaguer in basketball as well. He has a wide reputation for his clever playing and is an extremely keen defensive man. Off-season, he sells insurance for Bob Shea at Bankers Life. He's been called by Laker coach Johnny Kundler one of the smartest players in pro basketball. We talked earlier about the Lakers' #2 draft choice, but now meet #1. Yes, he's Whitey Skoog, the pride of the Golden Gophers. Whitey has been called the greatest player in Minnesota history. But first, let's introduce the rest of the family. With Whitey is his wife, Joyce. And that tiny future basketball star is little David. Whitey lives at 1704 Maple Street in Brainerd, and here he poses with his Brainerd High School coach, Kermit Agee. Whitey is of Norwegian ancestry. An extremely personable young man, Whitey is as popular on a basketball floor as lutefisk on a Christmas table. He's got a lot of color and dash. And he's got a whale of a jump shot. A guy with a lot of born talent, he's made himself proficient in every department of the game. He's exceptionally accurate on free throws, extremely good on defense, and an outstanding man as a team player. A U.S. Navy veteran, Whitey broke just about every record in the University of Minnesota's basketball history. He captained the Gophers 2 years and was twice elected their most valuable player. Combining both athletic and scholastic proficiency, he was awarded the Big Ten Conference Medal. There you see him shooting from the outside against Indiana in a game played at Williams Arena. He hits again. Watch this jump shot. Playing with the Western College All-Stars, he was acclaimed in Madison Square Garden for his ability both as a shot and as a playmaker. We've met the players, now let's meet the coach, Johnny Kundler. There's Coach with little Jimmy. Mrs. Kundler holds the baby, David. And on the right are Tommy and Jack. When Johnny's not worrying about the Lakers, he likes to relax and go fishing. Like countless other anglers, he loves to go after the bass, northerns, and crappie in those wonderful Minnesota lakes. Ticket manager Roy Christensen takes care of mail orders, too. Tickets for the Laker games at $2.40, $1.80, or $1.20 can be obtained 5 games in advance. To order by mail, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope to 106 Loeb Arcade. Well, that pretty well wraps up the story of this great Laker organization. Their past history and present array of talent are terrific. Cedric, how about the future?
Marty, from all you've said and all that we've seen, I'd say that the Lakers are going to bring another world crown back to the upper Midwest. I know you're as proud of them as I am. They've helped make our area known coast to coast. This, after all, is a team in a million, believe me. It's established a sports record that may never be equaled again. The Lakers are your team. They've written a new legend here in the upper Midwest. They've become, indeed, the Paul Bunyans of basketball.
With Mikan and Mick and Pollard too and Kundla running a team. The team's terrific to be specific, is basketball supreme. There's something about that Lakers score that makes the fans want more. That makes you want to shout. There's something about that Laker team that makes the fans turn out. With Mikan and Mick and Pollard too and Kundla running a team. The team's terrific to be specific, is basketball supreme. There's something about that Lakers score that makes the fans want more.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, the 17th largest city in the United States, is the home of the world champion Minneapolis Lakers. The only major league team in the state of Minnesota, the Lakers have become an institution in the upper Midwest. In addition to the staunch support of the fans of Minneapolis and St. Paul, they draw more than 50% of the attendance from outside the city itself. More than 1 million people live within 50 miles of the Minneapolis Auditorium, where the Lakers play their home games. Last year, fans from 30 states and Canada watched the Lakers in action. Away from home, as well as with their loyal fans, the Lakers are one of the most popular clubs the world of sport has ever seen. At the Chicago Stadium, the Minneapolis Lakers have drawn the biggest crowds for both college and professional games for 3 straight years. Here, before more than 21,000 fans, the Lakers meet the Harlem Globetrotters. The series between the Lakers and the star-studded Trotters, one of the great basketball teams of all times, has become one of the most traditional in sports and has drawn 6 consecutive sellout crowds. The game in Minneapolis last year was sold out 3 months in advance. Before the largest crowd to ever witness a professional basketball contest, the Lakers are out to snap the Trotters' 113-game winning streak. The Globetrotters bring the ball down court. Sweetwater Clifton gets set in the corner and connects. Slater Morton dribbles down court and passes to Arnie Ferrin. Ferrin sets. Swish. Pollard's one-hander misses the mark. Mickelson gets the rebound, jumps up, and it's good. Little Marcus Haynes scores a nice one for the Trotters. Each year, both teams are really out to win this one. The Lakers work the ball around. Mickelson misses, but follows right up for the score. Clifton drives through hard to ring up 2. The pace steps up as Big George Mikan pours one in. Taking control of both backboards, the Lakers put on the pressure, and Bob Harrison tallies on a perfectly executed play. Watch Mikan here. This is the brand of defensive and offensive play that has made him stand out as the greatest basketball player of all time. Harrison passes to Pollard. It's good. Now the Trotters are basket bound. Irma Robinson sets and puts it through. The Lakers whip the ball around with Mikan in the pivot. Into George and a score. Clifton, who will be an NBA rival this year as a member of the New York Knickerbockers, taps the ball out. He goes into the corner and connects with a long set shot. The half ends with the Lakers out in front, 40-23. Early in the second half, Mickelson connects with a turning jump shot. The Trotters fight back and with precision-like ball handling, work Babe Presley through the middle for a running left-handed shot. Pollard feeds Mikan. George misses, but Tony Jaros retrieves and scores. The Trotters break fast for their basket, and the crowd is seeing basketball at its best as Haynes gets off a beauty from the foul line. Setting up their plays in a deliberate manner, the Lakers feed the ball to Pollard, and Jumping Jim hits from outside the keyhole. Taking advantage of every break and keeping on the pressure at top speed, John Kundler's boys keep rolling up the score. With the final minutes ticking off, the Lakers have this one tucked away, and with Mikan leading the way with 36 points, go on to win 76-60 to end another Trotter winning streak. Let's look at the world's champions off the court. Bud Grant was one of the greatest athletes in Minnesota history. A three-letter man in football, baseball, and basketball, he was selected by the Philadelphia Eagles as their #1 draft choice. Grant passed up a record pro football contract to play basketball. The finest rebounder I ever saw in college basketball is the tribute paid to Grant by Dave McMillan, former Minnesota basketball coach. Bud scored the tying basket in the first playoff game with Syracuse and is a real scoring threat at all times. The greatest athlete ever developed at Edison High School in Minneapolis is Tony Jaros. Together with his wife, Maddie, their 7-year-old twins, Tony and Tommy, and 3-year-old Jimmy, they are a part of this great metropolis. A star baseball player, Jaros played with Faribault after 2 years in organized ball. The former Minnesota athlete scored the winning basket against Rochester to win the playoff for the Western Division title. His accurate set shots have often turned the tide of victory. Watch this one. Three-time All-American from Utah, Arnie Ferrin, wife Rolane, and little Arnie III now make their home in Minneapolis. A great dribbler, Arnie sparked the Lakers to a victory in the playoff after missing part of the season because of illness. A terrific defensive man and a wonderful ball hawk, Ferrin plays both guard and forward for the world champs. Slater Martin, in his first year in pro ball, earned the title as the best defensive small man on the court. On the offense, this great all-around basketball star from Texas boasts among his records 47 points scored in one game. Quick as a cat, Martin is a perfect dribbler and the fastest man on the Laker team. It was Martin who stopped such outstanding scorers as Wanzer of Rochester, Servey of Syracuse, and Zaslavsky of Chicago. Among college coaches, Slater was tagged the best basketball player ever developed in the Southwest. The Kangaroo Kid himself, Jim Pollard, with wife Arlie and son Jack. Arlie is as much a part of Laker basketball as her famed husband. Her cries can be heard around the arena when an official calls a close one that doesn't favor the Lakers. Selected on the National Basketball Association All-Star team for 3 straight years, Pollard started his basketball career at Stanford University, where he played under Ev Dean. He joined the Lakers in 1947 after playing AAU ball with the champion Oakland Bitmans. A great California booster, Jim now owns a home in Minneapolis. He plays baseball for Jordan in the summer. Pollard is a great favorite with the kids in the neighborhood and is one of the most popular of the Lakers. On the court, Jim can go up higher for the ball than anybody in the game. He once bruised his elbow on the edge of the rim. Pollard has a terrific one-handed shot from out on the court. His specialty is the jump shot, which opposing guards have found almost impossible to stop. He's a hard-driving performer and combines his individual greatness with precision-like team play. What's cooking, Bob? Stonewall Harrison, the former Michigan great, is as much at home in the kitchen with wife Ruth as he is on the basketball court. Looks like Bob has drawn the cleanup spot tonight. An outstanding defensive guard, Harrison was assigned the task of stopping such high scorers as Fred Schaus of Fort Wayne and Joe Falks of Philadelphia. Bob brings up two with a terrific jump shot. Here's Bob's set shot from 30 feet out that beat Syracuse in the third game of the championship playoffs in the last 14 seconds. Vern Mickelson was truly the rookie of the year as far as the Minneapolis Lakers are concerned. Here the Hamlin All-American looks over some of his many trophies he won while playing for Joe Hutton. Standing 6'7" and weighing 220 pounds, Mick averaged better than 11 points a game in his first pro season. The youngest player on the Laker roster, Vern has every shot in the book. Playing in the double pivot, Mick sets up a threat that opponents in the NBA have found tough to stop. Despite his height and weight, Mickelson moves very well for a big man. George Mr. Basketball Mikan, the Lakers' big center, was voted the top basketball player of the 20th century in an Associated Press poll. George Jr. and Larry are getting early training in the hardwood game, and wife Pat, whom George met at DePaul, is the assistant coach. Mikan, who led the Pro League in scoring for 4 straight years, holds every scoring record in the book with the exception of the single-game mark. Considered by coaches and cage experts the greatest basketball player who ever lived, George now resides in Minneapolis, where he owns his own home and plans to practice law when his basketball career is ended. In New York, George received the Basketball Player of the Year award from O.J. Elder, publisher of Sport magazine. Captain of the 1949-50 Laker 5, Mikan averaged 27 points per game. Opposing coaches have tried every trick of the trade to stop the 3-time All-America from DePaul. George is at his best in the pivot. His ability to get position on the defensive man makes his hook shot a sure score. Although George stands 6'10", he moves so well that experts say he'd be just as great if he was only 6 feet tall. A great feeder from the pivot, George sets up many baskets for his teammates. Most envied coach in basketball today is John Cundler, who has coached the Lakers to 3 straight world titles. The former Minnesota star, in one of his few relaxing moments, reads the funnies to sons Jimmy, Tommy, and Jack, and wife Marie looks on. The greatest basketball player ever developed at Notre Dame. That's how Moose Krause, Irish coach, rates Kevin O'Shea, #1 college draft choice of the Lakers. A good shot from out on the court and an excellent feeder, O'Shea makes the Lakers stronger than ever. A star from his boyhood days in high school at San Francisco, in the Coast Guard, and at Notre Dame, O'Shea was recommended to the Lakers by Jim Pollard, who played with the 6'2" guard in the service. Moose Krause, the Notre Dame coach, feels that O'Shea will become one of the great guards in pro ball. A great dribbler and sure shot, O'Shea plans to enter the advertising business in Minneapolis. Northwest Airlines, with its luxury strato cruises, transports the Lakers all over the country. The Lakers fly Northwest for comfort and speed. The big men like Mickelson, Mikan, and Pollard especially prefer the air since they find it very hard to sleep in trains because of their size. Through rain and sleet, Northwest flew the Lakers 1,500 miles to Rochester, arriving just in time for the game, and then brought them back rested to meet Chicago the following day. The biggest drawing card in the country, the Lakers received over 3,000 requests last year from New York alone for pictures and autographs. When Mr. Basketball and company meet the New York Knickerbockers at Madison Square Garden, there's sure to be a sellout. John Pendle's boys are great favorites. The Lakers, with Mikan and Mickelson in the pivot and Pollard on the edge of the keyhole, maneuver the ball and cash in on Mickelson's pivot shot. Carl Braun scores a nice one for New York. Mikan, showing the form which enabled him to average 33 points per game against the Knicks, wheels to his right and lays one up and in. The Knicks work the ball around. Into Barilla, he shoots. It's no good. Harry Gallatin lays it in for the score. Stopped by Farron and Martin behind Braun's screen. McGuire looks for an opening, fires into Gallatin, and Harry scores again. Mikan in the pivot feeds off to Harrison, and it's two more for the Lakers as they hold a 41-38 edge at halftime. At the start of the second half, Mikan gets the tap. Pollard drives through and misses. Mickelson's tap in is good. The Knicks set a fast pace as Braun pushes in a score. Harrison shoots, no good. Dick McGuire retrieves and goes all the way to score. Lakers ball. Mikan has it. Over to Mickelson, he shoots. Swish. Braun and McGuire bring the ball down court. Braun shoots. No good, and there's a terrific scramble for the ball, and Tex Ritter puts it away. The Lakers' big three of Mickelson, Pollard, and Mikan score 73 points as George brings up two more. As the seconds tick off, the Knickerbockers fight hard to cut down the champions' lead. Connie Simmons passes high to Barilla, and Vince hooks one in. Schaefer brings the ball down court over to Mickelson. Mick looks for a receiver, and Herman cuts across the keyhole and hooks one in for two. The Lakers keep the pressure on down to the final buzzer as they pull away from Joe Lapchick's strong quintet. There's no question of the outcome now. The fans at Madison Square Garden have seen another great game as Connie Simmons puts one through in the final second. The Lakers write another win into the books, 94-83, as they travel the long road to the championship. The Laker office at 106 Loeb Arcade in Minneapolis is headquarters for all Laker business, including the sale of tickets. Max Winter, general manager of the Lakers, was a former basketeer himself at Hamlin. The Laker vice president is well equipped to handle the destinies of this smooth-running organization, from front office to playing court. Fans may purchase tickets at the box office at 106 Loeb Arcade daily from 10 to 5. Mail orders get preferred attention. The easy way to get tickets is to mail a check with a self-addressed stamped envelope to 106 Loeb Arcade. Ticket prices are $2.40, $1.80, and $1.20. Last year, Al Therian, on the left, director of special events for the Lakers, arranged nights for 112 firms and organizations. More than 40,000 fans witnessed games with fellow employees and members. Call Al Therian at the Laker office if your organization wants to plan its own night. Greyhound buses brought more than 41,000 fans to Laker games last year. A bus ticket, hotel room, and choice ticket to the game are included in a package deal. See your Greyhound agent about making a trip to Minneapolis soon. A familiar sight at courtside is Ben Berger, president of the Lakers, and Mrs. Berger. A large theater owner in the state of Minnesota, Berger's sports promotions date back to Fargo, North Dakota. Max Winter and wife can always be found in their favorite spot, spurring the world champions on to victory. Glenn Gaff and Bill Carlson, sports writers for the Minneapolis Star and Tribune, bring the fans of the Upper Midwest the story of the Lakers every day. Dick Enroth, voice of the Lakers, broadcasts games home and away to the entire Upper Midwest. More than 20 stations carry the broadcasts. Playing in the finals of the championship playoffs for the third straight year, the defending champions meet the Syracuse Nationals for the 1951 championship before a record crowd. Syracuse tallies when 6'7" Alex Hannum goes underneath the hoop for a score. With Mikan and Mickelson in a double pivot, Jim Pollard cuts through the middle to tap one in. On a fast break, Hannon takes a lead pass and the Nationals chalk up 2 more. Fighting to tie up the series, Syracuse sets a terrific pace, and the Lakers, once more controlling the backboards, match speed with more speed. Arnie Ferrin brings the ball down the entire length of the court, and Jim Pollard hits the mark. Al Servey keeps Syracuse in contention as the player coach of the Eastern title holders hits on a long set shot. Slater Martin receives a pass from Ferrin, takes aim. Now he sets. Swish. Here's the kind of play the champs are made of. Ferrin recovers the ball, whips it into Pollard in the high pivot. Martin cuts through and goes all the way in to score. Servey gets set. Now he shoots. No good. Ratkovich recovers. He lays one up. It's good. It's the Lakers' ball. Pollard has it. He dribbles in. Passes out to Ferrin. He shoots. Good. The chips are down and both teams are going all out. And it's a brand new ball game as the half ends, 38-38. And Mikan adds to his total. That is to reach 28 before the night is over. There's no let-up now, and both teams set a terrific pace. Outscoring Syracuse in the third and fourth periods, the Lakers pull away and go on to win 77-69 and take the series from Syracuse 4-2 to become world champions for the third straight year. The Lakers are a part of the great Upper Midwest. They belong to this area and hope to continue to bring Major League Baseball to their fans who day in and day out watch the world's greatest basketball played at the Minneapolis Auditorium.
There's something about that Laker team that makes you want to shout. There's something about that Laker team that makes the fans turn out. With Mikan and Mick and Pollard too and Kundla running the team. The team's terrific, to be specific, your basketball supreme. There's something about that Lakers score that makes the fans want more.
Johnny Kundla is going over strategy with his famous squad. Here's a close-up of Coach Kundla himself as he talks with his men. Like every good coach, he's deeply concerned with the basic fundamentals of the game. Of primary concern to him, therefore, are the condition his players are in and the equipment they're wearing. Here, George Mikan puts on wool socks over carefully taped ankles. Good shoes, comfortably fitted and cushioned to absorb the jaws of hard play, are a vital necessity. Arnie Ferrin, like the rest of the Lakers, uses U.S. Pro Kids. They're scientifically cushioned from heel to toe and have that shock-proof arch which gives the foot the protection it needs. Remember, your feet are important. Take care of them. We're ready now to take up the fundamentals. Arnie Ferrin demonstrates the chest pass, the most common pass in the game. Notice the position of the fingers on the ball for control. Also, the follow-through motion of the arms. The ball isn't fired until the arms are stretched to maximum length. George Mikan shows the layup shot, most fundamental shot in the game. Going up, George doesn't take his eye off the ball. Never look for the basket until you have the ball in a firm grip. Left hand is underneath and right hand on top with fingers spread wide apart. George brings the ball directly in front of his face. Take off from the left foot for a right-hand shot and vice versa. Use a high jump, not a broad jump. Go straight up. Don't use too much spin in a layup shot. Don't twist the body. Never slam the ball against the backboard. A layup shot should be put up softly. Watch the spot on the backboard where you want to lay the ball. Right now, Romney of Brigham Young is going to make one. Every player should learn to make the layup shot from either side. Coming down the middle, lay the ball just over the lip of the hoop. That's Brasco of NYU. Here's the pivot shot. Watch Mikan's firm grip, elbows wide apart. Keep the body between the opponent and the ball. Fake right, placing pivot foot, the left foot in this case, towards the basket. Spring from that pivot foot when you swing to your left and up. Another thing, remember to come out and meet the ball to avoid illegal blocking and the likelihood of pass interception. Fake with the head and shoulders, not with the ball. Keep both hands on the ball for better control until you're ready to shoot. Keep your eye on a spot on the backboard and follow through. Let's watch Mikan do the pivot shot in an actual game. You'll see that he's in a good position and that he keeps both hands on the ball until he's ready to shoot. And it's 2 more for the Lakers. Now George demonstrates the figure 8 drill, which is excellent for conditioning and developing coordination. It's especially good for big men, making them jump high. Jumping means jarring, and those U.S. pro kids really get a workout absorbing the shock from heel to toe. And with Big George, that's quite a shock. The ball does not touch the floor. Lay it up softly. Spring from the left foot when you're making a right-hand shot. A very good drill for learning to shoot with either hand. Spring from the right foot when you make the left-hand shot. Notice how the hands control that ball before shooting. Now Jim Pollard demonstrates his jump shot. Wrist action and fingertip control are very important. You'll notice how Jim stops from a dribble, grips the ball firmly with both hands, jumps straight up, and at the highest point, flips the ball in with a slight arch. A variation of the jump shot is shown by Vern Mickelson from the pivot area that can be used in place of a hook shot. Here, the basic principle is to get a quick fake, jump straight up, then turn or twist while in the air. The ball is flipped with wrist action at the highest point of the jump. Always remember, too, that your fingers should be wide apart for fingertip control in the event you can't shoot and have to pass off. Watch how well Mickelson in the pivot fakes his man. Jump, twist, flip, and score. Now the one-hand set shot. An important thing is the proper stance, which should be the most comfortable one. In Jim Pollard's case, the right foot slightly ahead of the left to give him better balance. The ball fairly close to the body, he brings it down and up over his head with an easy follow-through motion. A fundamental is to look at the basket over the ball when aiming and see the hoop under the ball during the follow-through. Here in a game, Bob Harrison does it perfectly. Now the two-hand set shot. The correct hold is to have both thumbs on top of the ball, fingers wide apart, and just the tips of the fingers, no palms on that ball. The stance again should be a comfortable one for the individual player, the elbows close to the body. As you release the ball, the palms will turn outwards, the arms extended as you are trying to lay that ball right into the basket. Just as in the one-hand set shot, you look at the basket over the ball when aiming and under the ball when it's released. Here's Slater Martin using a two-hand set shot against the Knicks. It's good. The overhead shot, popular with big men. Accuracy and control are achieved by using a slight wrist spin. The snap of the wrist is all the motion in the shot. The free throw. Grip the ball with the fingertips, thumbs on top. Keep the ball well out in front of you. When about to shoot, bend the knees and follow through. Most important thing is to get a comfortable stance, feet apart, toes on the line. Aim just over the lip of the basket, giving the ball a slight backspin for accuracy. Above all, practice relaxation. Don't change your stance with every other game. Keep those arms straight. Don't bend the elbows. Dribbling. Keep the ball low with fingertip control. Keep your body between the defender and the ball. When you're being closely guarded, that ball shouldn't bounce more than 1.5 feet. Notice Jim Pollard show a stop-start and change of pace while dribbling. Also the way he pivots. And the fact that he has learned to dribble equally well with either hand. Remember in dribbling to be careful when the ball is ahead of you so that a man can't steal it away. The 3-on-2 drill simulates the fast break situation in a game. Key player is the middle one. He's the apex of a triangle that moves the ball back and forth until you get the shot. The Lakers never crisscross, but keep the triangle until they get that good opening. The last pass should be made at the free throw line. A fast break, 3-on-2. Watch the man in the center who gives to the man who's free.
When you crowds as excited as these, it doesn't take much guessing to know that they're watching basketball, the greatest game of them all. It's a truly American game, and all over the country, every year in the high schools and in the universities, it's a tremendous favorite. As played by the masters, the incredible grace and consummate skill of the game is wonderful to see. No wonder it holds vast crowds enthralled. Sometimes, in fact, the game becomes more exciting than we bargained for. Relax, Coach. But wherever the game is played, on city sandlots and at summer camps, as well as in the gymnasiums and big arenas, the fans feel that basketball is the king of sports. Well, there are kings of basketball, too. One team that is the greatest of them all, the finest on earth. As a matter of fact, the most fabulous collection of basketball talent since the game was invented a half-century ago. They've reaped more honors in the last 6 years than any comparable sports organization. Within that time, they've won 5 world championships. No wonder they're called the Yankees of basketball. No wonder that nationally famous magazines have featured their exploits and their accomplishments in stories read by millions. The simplest indication of the interest they've generated is to be found in the many important publications that covered their achievements. And where do you look to find the world's greatest basketball team? Well, look for the land of 10,000 lakes. Actually, there are a lot more than 10,000 lakes in this state, but it's easier to say 10,000 than 12,462. And the capital city of basketball is a city of lakes, with nearly a dozen beautiful ones right in the community itself. Lakes in which you can swim and play. Lakes in which you can even hold a world-famous water festival, like the Aquatennial, where day and night, millions enjoy observing a week-long aquatic Mardi Gras. Yes, all this is in Minneapolis, city of lakes, in the land of the sky blue waters, and naturally enough, the home of the Minneapolis Lakers, the world's #1 basketball team. 5 times world champions in the last 6 years, 5 titles out of 6 in the league that contains the world's best players, the champion of champions, the greatest basketball team of the century, the Minneapolis Lakers. And now, meet the champs.
Hello, I'm Dr. Finn Larson, Director of Research at Minneapolis Honeywell. We at Honeywell are proud to bring you the story of the Minneapolis Lakers, the great champions who have done so much to carry the name Minneapolis across the nation. But I'd like to spend just a minute or two talking about another Minneapolis institution of which I'm proud, and that's Minneapolis Honeywell. The chances are that the thermostat on your living room wall is made by Minneapolis Honeywell because we pioneered back in the 1880s with a device like this. We've been the leaders in the automatic control of heating ever since. Quite a difference between this original device and the modern thermostats we make now, isn't there? Like the new round thermostat you see here, or the electronic temperature control system we call electronic ModuFlow. With this outdoor electronic thermostat that actually feels the weather before it ever affects your home. As a matter of fact, the chances are that when you think of the word thermostat, you think of Honeywell. But I'd like to show you that we make more than just good thermostats. We actually make 9,000 different kinds of automatic controls. You name it, and it's probably got a Honeywell control on it, in it, or near it. We make intricate and fantastically precise mechanisms like this gyro, the heart of the flight control system that flies supersonic aircraft automatically without the slightest touch by the pilot. At our Brown Instrument Division in Philadelphia, we make controls for industry and science. This temperature recorder is just one. Controls that you can link together to run a giant oil refinery automatically. Electronic thermostats you can actually stick into a roaring open hearth furnace to make better steel by measuring incredible temperatures accurately and precisely. Our Appliance Controls Division makes these controls for convenient and safe hot water in your home. And we make micro switches the size of a peanut. The instruments that went along with a V-2 rocket to handle a small but important job. In the air, on land, and on the seas. Through the magic of electronics, Honeywell is engaged in building the world of the future, the world in which you will live better, will work better, the world of automatic control. Well, I know you're anxious to take a look at the Lakers, so I'm going to turn you over to the man who broadcasts all the Laker games at home or on the road, and is without question the hottest Laker fan in the nation, a man who doesn't care who wins as long as it's the Lakers. He's the voice of the Lakers, Dick Enroth.
Hi there, everybody. Last spring, the Minneapolis Lakers won their 5th World's Championship in 6 years of league play. How well I remember that big night in New York City when they beat the powerful Knickerbockers to do it. The Lakers were hot from the opening tap-off. They've got the ball, and Jim Pollard's one-hander is a bullseye. Carl Brown of New York driving in for a scoop shot. No good. The rebound's taken by Pollard, and here come the Lakers. Over to Martin at the side. Slater's up with a set shot. Perfect. Ernie Vanderway of the Knicks with the ball. Over to Sweetwater Clifton, who's having trouble trying to crash the Laker defense. Back out to Vince Brilla, who sets. Boom. Standing room only here in Manhattan as the Lakers keep up the pressure. Bobby Harrison with a one-hander. He's terrific. Minneapolis leading at the quarter 19-18. An overhand set by Connie Simmons. It's in there. The visitors from Minneapolis with a chance to cinch the World's Championship tonight are going with all burners. They're passing and shooting sharp. Bob Harrison's one-hander does it. New York's ball. Dick McGuire starting to drive. Simmons' hook shot is blocked, but Simmons steals it right back again and scores. Now the flashy backcourt men from Minneapolis. This was the brand of hard-fought basketball we saw in New York the night that the Lakers went on to take it all 91-84 for their 5th World's title. Yes, that was a great night for the Minneapolis Lakers. They accomplished the almost impossible. They beat the red-hot New York Knickerbockers 3 straight games, and they did it on the Knicks' home floor. But a lot more goes into a World's Championship than just individual talent. Work, for example, in planning and practice. Practice and then more practice. To build a great team, a championship team, you need the immense height and strength of men like Mikan. This doubles the effectiveness of every shot by maintaining control of the ball. If you miss the first, maybe you'll make the second. And if your opponent misses the first, he doesn't get a second chance. You need men like Pep Saul and Bobby Harrison who can drop those long ones through the hoop when the defense has you stymied on the inside. Watch this one. You need men who can stay in there when the going is tough. Men who can break through and score when you need the points. Men like Jim Pollard. You need a man with the grace and skill of a ballet dancer and the fingertip control of a juggler. That's Vern Mickelson. And it doesn't hurt to have a little fellow around like Slater Martin. A fellow who can cool off the hottest of shooters with a fierce defense. Watch him in action here. Yes, it's nice to have talent, but so has the rest of the league. Take a man like the incomparable Bob Cousy of the Boston Celtics. Number 14, that's Cousy. A relatively small man, but absolutely a magician with a basketball. And a tremendous scorer. Adolph Shays, number 4 of Syracuse. An athlete with an uncanny sense of timing for grabbing rebounds and an absolute menace at making baskets. Bobby Davies of the Rochester Royals. Another small man, but as great as they come. Here's Blonde Bobby, the Rochester Flash. Ed McCauley of the Boston Celtics, number 22. Easy Ed, tall, smooth, and sure-handed with an extraordinary eye for hitting the hoop. Jack Nichols of the Milwaukee Hawks, the Marine Corps rifleman, a 6'6" southpaw who's a scoring demon. Yes, the rest of the league has plenty on the ball, too. Every team an aggregation of all-American stars. So where do you start? Well, if you're world champions and you want to stay world champions, you start with an idea. You know that Big George is the greatest basketball player of the century, was elected to that honor in an Associated Press poll, as a matter of fact, and you know that other teams know it. They figure if they can get George down to 10 or even 15 points a game instead of 35 or 50, they've got you beat. And they know how to do it. They've got to sag in on George and cover him like a blanket. Watch how they cover him now. Again, they're all over him. Say you're a coach like ex-Minnesota star Johnny Kundla, the man who's guided the Lakers to those 5 World Championships. If you're in John's shoes, what do? Well, you lock yourself up in the gym. You get an idea and then you start perfecting it. Then you practice and practice and keep practicing. So let them smother George. Let them hold him down to 10 or 12 points a game. So you use George as a decoy. Well, you get off to a good start, but the rest of the coaches have been around too. Men like Joe Lapchick of the Knicks, who used to play with the Lakers of an earlier era, the famed New York Celtics. And Red Auerbach of Boston, who's written a book on how to play basketball. You know that you've got a big team with power, a team that can rise up out of those battles under the boards to get those all-important rebounds. But you know what the league is going to do next. They're going to send their speed merchants out against you and try to run you to death. As long as they can't outpower you, they're going to fast break you. Fire that ball down the floor and make your big boys wear themselves out, running up and down that floor. That fast breaking can break your heart too. But when they lay those easy ones in there, you start to wonder how good you really are. So what do? You get back in the gym again and start practicing. Practicing the fundamentals just as if you were back in high school. Fingertip control, get the rebound, move that ball, throw those passes, and run, run, run. You see, you've got some speed merchants too. If a team like the Lakers that's known for power can fast break, well, it won't be your heart that's broken. And your idea pays off. You bump into a fast-breaking team. And you fast break right back at them. Of course, the fast breaking only works for a while. The league catches up to you again. Then they start to play control ball against you, making you come out and get it, holding the ball and forcing you to make the mistakes while they wait for the sure shots. So it's back to school again.
How are you?
Okay, how you
How's
doing?
your ankle?
Real good.
Morning, gentlemen. Oh, Judge. Hi, Bob.
Bobby.
Oh, George.
How are you, buddy?
Hello.
Where's Jimbo? How you doing, George? Hey, tell us a story about Sadowski on a fast break real quick, George, while I got a little time.
Well, man, you know,
You don't like to talk about it.
how many times
That's one I want to forget about.
How many times did he score on you?
He just got 3 set shots, didn't he?
Listen, he never shot from that far out.
What are you
You
talking
think he was an
about?
old pro at the college spirit? That's what he told me when he grabbed me.
He got a pretty good fast man, didn't he?
Listen, why didn't you watch him when he turned his head
I
out
thought
there?
it was funny. Let him go.
Or you watch him and let George watch Davies sometime, huh?
That's all.
Sure. Take him in the pivot, huh?
Well, I'm a fast man, let's face it.
What you got to say, old guy?
I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing.
All right, let's settle down, fellas.
Settle down.
Let's get serious.
Check the coach.
I think we won 20 in a row here. All right, first of all, I want to make an announcement. We're going to practice at the athletic club right after this pitcher. Now I want to go over the mistakes we've been making the past few games and iron out some of these mistakes. So let's pay attention closely and go to work. You all set?
Ready.
Here are our pitchers from our last New York game. Let's study them closely, and if there's any mistakes, let's run the pitcher back.
Well, let's get that rebound there. There they go, running again.
Back on that defense.
Well, Vince goes through there and passes off nicely in that one. And we can't get that ball again. How many times are they grabbing it?
Come on, get that rebound.
Here we're all watching the ball here, and we're missing our men. 2 guys are watching the ball here, and let that man get away.
That's what happens.
Was that your fault, Jim? Oh, there they go. It was that fast break again.
There's a mistake there. Let's run this back here and look this over again. Make, especially, watch yourself running down the court there. You're looking for your man, and it looks like Hitch has got him covered.
All right, we'll check it now.
The secret is to help each other out in a fast break out there.
We'll have to talk a little more.
When the movies are over, it's back to the gym. Even though by the middle of the season you feel as if you've had enough basketball to last you a lifetime. But that's the price you pay for being a champion. If they've been plugging up against Mikan, Pollard, Mickelson, Martin, and the others are your extra punches. So you work away at perfecting plays built around them. You practice whenever and wherever you get the chance. You try out the California play built around Pollard. It is, in effect, a double block for Jim's favorite one-hander. In this play, the 2 guards, Martin and Harrison, set up the block with an assist from Mikan. You rehearse it again and again. The arrow points to Harrison, who's blocking Pollard's man, springing Kangaroo Jim clear to make his patented shot. Then they use it in a game just like this. You work hard perfecting the Texas play, a running crisscross built around your fastest man, Doogie Martin, the classy little Texan. You do it over and over again to get it right. Your forwards pulling out to open up the middle. The first cutter, Harrison, throws to Mikan, who gives it to the second cutter, Martin, who has a nice alley to the basket. And so you try it in a game. Harrison to Mikan, he's in the high pivot, and Slater Martin cutting in. The only thing that stops him is a foul. You put all these things together, you shift them every game to cross up the opposition, and you try to stay just a half a step ahead of the lead. You travel east and west. And you drop a couple of tough ones on the road. You come home and win a couple. And you practice in between times. You plan some new plays and perfect some old ones. And meanwhile, you take them as they come. Sometimes you play 5 games in 5 nights and travel in between. But always you try to keep that half step ahead of the rest of the league. Planning, working, practicing, and playing. Once in a while, you get home for a rest. But as the season wears on, you manage to stay on top. Sometimes the margin gets pretty thin, but you plot and plan and practice and manage to pull out the close ones. I remember one in particular. The Lakers were at Fort Wayne. They're wearing the dark shirts in possession. And here's the situation. All through the game, Fort Wayne has been leading, at times by as many as 15 points. But now in the closing minutes, the Lakers have fought to their first lead, 67-66, a single point. Here's a pretty set shot by Edelman. It makes it 68-67 Fort Wayne. Martin down the court, over to Pollard. Harrison fires to Mikan. And when Big George hits, it's 69-68 the Lakers. Edelman is blocked by Saul. Back out to Shaws, who dribbles over to the side. He sets, and it's good. This one is close. Pollard takes it down the floor for the Lakers. He hands off to Martin. Doogie feeds Mikan, and it's good again. But here are the Pistons very much in this ball game with less than 2 minutes to go. Big Charlie Scher in the pivot position, fakes, turns, shoots, and hits. Minneapolis' ball, and they're playing heads up. Mickelson drops in a close one. It's good at close range. With Mikan breathing down his neck and the rest of the Lakers ready to sag in on him, Scher can't shoot from the pivot. But Shaw sets perfectly from the side. And the Lakers lead by a single point, 79-78. But here comes insurance. Vern Mickelson is having a whale of a night. Faust is battled up in the key. Watch the steal now coming up by Bobby Harrison. He's got it. And with Mikan and Mickelson collaborating, the Lakers have another basket. Minneapolis leading 83-81. That's Edelman setting. It rims the basket, and the Lakers have the rebound. Harrison holds it up, getting set for a play. There's Mikan. His quick set is off the rim, but George makes good in his second try, 85-81. Frankie Bryan is shackled by Martin, and the Lakers take over again. 2 quick passes, and Mickelson has a hanger, 87-81. Interception by Pollard. And the Lakers have the game on the ice, 59 points for Minneapolis in the roaring second half, 36 of them in the final quarter. Martin drives in for the last score, and the Lakers win it 89-81. Paced by Mikan and Mickelson, the Lakers pulled that one out of the fire in the very last minutes of the game. Yes, Laker fans get plenty of excitement game after game as the season goes by. Close ones, like the one you've just seen with Fort Wayne, keep you from getting complacent. But finally, you make it. You wind up on top with the Western Division title. There's only one thing that stands between you and your 5th world's crown, a championship team from New York. East meets West in a 7-game playoff series. Your only hurdle now, the New York Knickerbockers, champions of the East. That means more study. Far more carefully than ever before, you must assess the techniques, the strengths, and the weaknesses of the team against you. That's Slater Martin watching one of the stars, Carl Braun, number 4. Long a tough adversary for the Lakers. A part of New York's strategy is to play him as a guard, pitting him against the shorter Slater Martin. While George Mikan looks on, he sees Sweetwater Clifton, number 8, former mainstay of the Harlem Globetrotters, the man with the biggest hands in basketball. He and Ernie Vanderway are 2 of New Yorkers' best men who can bust up a game any moment. Bobby Harrison looks over Dick McGuire. There he is, tricky Dick McGuire, playmaker of the Knicks quintet, extremely fast and clever, and a very good shot. And so the big night arrives, the night of the opening playoff game in Minneapolis. And you plan. And you run. And you lose. All your planning, all your preparation, your strategy, and your confidence is counted for nothing. But you're the champions. You buckle down, the next night tells a different story. Then the series moves to New York and keeps going. You win another. You go on to take your third straight. Finally, the memorable night in Manhattan and that crucial game when the fans wondered, can the Lakers add one more game to clinch their world's title to be world champions? And here we are in that climatic contest, the New York Knicks wearing the white shirts. That's Ernie Vanderway getting a tap in. Lakers ball. Martin has it. Over to Pollard. Look at him go. Clifton of New York drives down the middle, but his underhand shot is missed. Pollard recovers for the Lakers. Dougie Martin passes back to Saul, and he pops in a beautiful jumper. Knicks ball. They trail in the final quarter, 69-60. McGuire's tricky pass is snared by Martin, and it's a steal and a counter steal. Pollard finally fires it to Mickelson, who's got a lead pipe cinch. Vanderway gets a screen, and he gets a basket. The Knicks are fighting back. Mikan is being guarded like gold. Martin can't beat him. Out to Pollard. Back to Doogie. Watch this set. It's beautiful. Vanderway over to Gallatin. Out to Barilla. Vanderway feeds Simmons. It's a nice one. 2 minutes to go and an all-court press by New York. It's hands off to Pollard, and it's good. The Knicks are battling desperately and effectively. They trail by only 5 points, 85-80. Vanderway into Simmons. And pandemonium breaks loose as he gets his hook shot in. A steal by Vanderway, who races down the court to make it 85-84. Jump ball, and Mikan goes straight to his target. With less than 30 seconds left, that nails it down, the Lakers go on to win. Their 5th World's Championship, and a more jubilant team of athletes you never saw. Congratulations from the losers who put up a terrific fight before they went down. The celebrating goes right on into the locker room, where a lot of tired but happy Lakers continue to rejoice. This is a night they'll never forget. New York is a great town, recognizing greatness in others. It took the Minneapolis Lakers to its heart, just as it has taken its own champions. Sometimes the Lakers were knee-deep in the admiration of their fans. But perhaps the finest recognition the Lakers received was that given them by the New York Yankees. Manager Casey Stengel, Yogi Berra, Vic Raschi, Phil Rizzuto, to mention just a few, extended congratulations from the Kings of Baseball to the Minneapolis Kings of Basketball. Against the toughest of professional competition over a long and rugged 70-game schedule, their talent, coaching, teamwork, and something called the will to win have once more proved triumphant. 5 times world champions in 6 years of championship play. That's the record of the Minneapolis Lakers.
George Mikan, the Joe DiMaggio of basketball, stands 6'10" and aces high with his National Basketball Association teammates, the Minneapolis Lakers, perhaps the greatest professional team in history. The Minneapolis Marvels practice for perfection, and handling the ball handles the solution to success. Getting down to fundamentals, and getting the fundamentals down makes the score go up. Slater Martin, University of Texas graduate, feeds his fellows as they get the feel of the ball in developing coordination and precision. Coach Johnny Kundla, top tactician, supervises a dazzling drill of layup shots. There's no excuse for missing when they get this close, but like eating, you gotta keep it up to stay at the peak of your game. Deft dunking, Vern Mickelson. Jim Pollard, and especially is done by my man, Mikan. Crisscross drill, learning to keep the ball moving, developing the art of getting the ball to a teammate while working it closer to the basket. Ability to score depends on agility in passing. Now Coach Kundla supervises a session of shooting. The one-hand push shot, lately popularized, but as old as the game itself. Now mastering marksmanship through the set shot. There's the push shot again. The magnificent Mr. Mikan is a sure bet with the set. And he's mighty hunk with the dunk. A lesson by George, by George. Perfect performance, just like picking peaches and putting them in the basket. Dexterous and ambidextrous. As in all sports, the play is the thing. And the coach that can come up with a new play or baffling variation has part of the battle won. It provides new interest for the players, too. Mr. Basketball studies the diagram along with his mates for absorption and criticism. Blackboard drill, they call this. Here the coach cooks up something around a double pivot, two men stationed near the basket. The coach discusses the moves of every individual. He analyzes the play. He anticipates the defensive maneuvers. And when all assignments are carried out on the floor as drawn on the board, it should make for a scoring spree. One of the most difficult skills to acquire is split vision. Here, Mikan from the pivot practices pass feeding to mates breaking for the basket. And the idea is to fake direction, look one way, pass another. Deception designed to dumbfound the defense. From this spot, the pivot doesn't always pass out. He'll fake once or twice, keep the ball, and hook shot for 2 points. Lakers president Ben Berger and Coach Kundla watch a scrimmage session. Regulars against the subs. And Mikan takes charge in a hurry. Practice periods simulating game conditions. Constant concentration on the target leads to accuracy. And just when you figure Mikan's going to shoot again, well, sir, he's fooled you. No passing fancy, just fancy passing. The boys have shown skill in the drill, added polish to demolish the foe wherever they go. The Minneapolis Lakers are headed for Chicago to pit their professional prowess against a star-studded lineup of America's finest college court men. Chicago Stadium is jammed for the Court Classic. The players mindful that their prestige is at stake. The Lakers